continue collecting, and remember, stay casual. Welcome back, casual collectors. I'm Steelwolf.
And Spider Kid.
And today we're bringing you a review of the G.I. Joe Classified series, B.A.T. or B.A.T.
Okay, so we picked them up at Target.com for the price of $22.99. You can still pick them up at Big Bad for the price of $25.99. Walmart for $39.88. And on Amazon for $29.47. And it's currently sold out on Best Buy, GameStop, and Target.com.
Alright, with prices out of the way, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the packaging.
Alright, so for box detail. As you see in the front, it shows a nice cool little picture of the robot himself, looking like if he's in a battle. Obviously have battle damage on him, but you can see in giant words is G.I. Joe Classified Series. And with the name on the bottom right there and the Hasbro logo. Okay, now to the side we can see, it looks like it's at a computer or something because of all the glitches that it looks like it has. And you see this is actually the 33rd figure of the entire line.
Yeah, I gotta say, I do like the way that G.I. Joe actually numbers their figures like that, because if you're one of those kind of people that like to collect the packaging, putting this box on your shelf is gonna look pretty freaking sweet, especially if you have them all the way from number 1 to whatever current number they have now.
Yeah.
I think that would look very cool.
Now you see in the back here, we can see a cool little artwork that shows all the characters. And on the bottom, it's more Lego stuff. And if we go to the other side, we see this really cool little artwork of the guy also. Which it looks like he's battle damaged also, which looks really cool. And now if we go to the top, you can see this little window that shows the top of the figure with the Cobra logo and the number 33. And when all that's said, let's try to put this guy back together.
Alright, and here we have the bat out of the package and looking pretty freaking sweet. I love that robot arm. That looks awesome. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a closer look at all the accessories that the bat comes with. Alright, and here we have all the accessories that come with the Battle Android Trooper. Let's go ahead and start here with the heads, and we do get 2 heads. Let's go ahead and start with this one here. And this one here is a more battle damaged head, and this looks freaking awesome. We can definitely see a little bit of his eye here that's underneath this mask. That looks cool. We got that blue paint. Very awesome. Look at that. That looks awesome. And then on the side here, we have more of the actual helmet that came off to reveal more of that android head there, and that looks great. Look at the metallic sheen on that. We got a bunch of these little like armored pieces. That looks so android. Very awesome. We got this what looks like an air vent here for the helmet. That looks pretty cool with that metallic paint. Very awesome little details. Here on the back, there's not much. We just got these different platings for the helmet. Same with the top here. We got this kind of what looks like a fin there on top. That looks really cool. Back to the front here, we have all this cracking here on the visor. That looks freaking cool too. Here on the side, we got these what look like also little vents there. And here's that other back vent there. That looks great. We got 2 little bolts there that are sculpted in with some lines there. Very cool looking head sculpt. Very awesome there. There's the inside for the peg hole that goes on top of that peg for that ball joint. Let's take a look at the other head sculpt here. And this is pretty much the same head sculpt, just without the battle damage. So pretty much the same exact thing, which still looks pretty cool. You can definitely take some really cool pictures with this guy, because you get your non-damage version and your battle damage version. But very cool though. I love that they give you that option. Moving on to the hands, he does come with 2 additional hands here. And this is what they look like. Very robotic, very android looking, very Terminator-esque. Very awesome. And as you can see, this guy here, very loose, unfortunately. Yeah, even holding the pistol, it kind of looks weird. As you can see, it looks like there was some warping right there. Yeah, it looks like it got bent too much, but that's unfortunate. But other than that, these hands do look pretty cool. I mean, look at that detail on that. Very awesome. All right, moving on to the next thing here. We got the backpack. And this guy looks really cool. We got all these cool little gizmos in there. That looks pretty awesome. All nice and sculpted. And this is definitely a softer plastic. Almost feels a little bit more rubbery. Here's the back of it. You can see there's the peg. We got this cool little actual detail back here, which they didn't need to put that, but it's there. And then we got this thing over here, which looks like a whip almost, or some nunchucks. And then we got these peg holes in here inside that actually hold other accessories, as well as this little guy here on the side that has a peg underneath with some details on there on the side. That looks great. But this also holds another accessory. Here on the side, we got some sculpted detail. Same on that side, looking very cool. Next thing, we get 2 additional chest plates. And here we have your clean chest plate, which looks pretty neat. Not much detail, but there doesn't need to be. There's the back of it, nothing there. And then we get the battle damage chest plate, which looks outstanding. It definitely looks like you took either a big old bullet there, or maybe a grenade, or even maybe you got punched by another cyborg or something. This one here is chipped and cracked. That looks very awesome. Very cool detail. There's the back of that one. All right, moving down now to the other accessories. We get his standard issue pistol here, and this looks pretty neat. Love all this cool little detail. I mean, they didn't need to go all detailed like this, but they did, and that's very awesome. Look at all that. You can clearly see that trigger there. That looks so cool. Look at that. Got the sights there. We got this little tactical flashlight, maybe even a laser, who knows. Very awesome looking little pistol. All right, next thing, we have one of the attachments that goes to the hands here. So this guy here, when you pop the hand off, you can put this guy into the arm, and this will be his robotic attachment. And this kind of looks like a flamethrower. That's what this kind of looks like to me. What do you think, Spider Kid?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty like that also.
Right, like a flamethrower. Like here's where maybe the gas or the flame would come out of, and maybe this part's where the gas comes out of. I'm not sure, but that's what it looks like to me. It even has a port there where you can maybe even port in those accessories that they're starting to release with the G.I. Joes. Those blast effects, I should say. But definitely a lot of cool detail on this guy. All right, and here we have another classic attachment here. It looks like your classic cyborg Terminator arm here. This looks pretty freaking neat. And again, you pop off the hand, this guy will port right into the arm there. And it's more of your like classic claw look thing here, but it kind of looks like a buzzsaw here on the side with all this sculpt here with these little ridges. That looks cool. Got pretty cool little accents here. Some cool little metallic doodads and robotic doodads there. That looks awesome. Same down here, a bunch of little pistons and stuff. That looks awesome. Now, unfortunately, this guy doesn't open up. It's kind of just set in the way that it's set there, but still looks pretty cool. I mean, you could probably still manage to fit in an arm here. Even it's soft enough to actually be able to go around somebody's neck and kind of lift them up that way to give that classic, like, you know, choking look or whatever, but it still looks pretty cool. And for our last attachment here, this looks pretty neat. Kind of looks like a fire hose nozzle, but I don't think that's what it is. But yeah, I guess it'd be more along the lines of like some kind of beam or laser doodad or whatnot. But it still looks pretty cool. It's got a lot of cool little detail on it. You can see this looks like a hose right there. It kind of wraps around and go in here. And this might be like a gauge or something. But same thing, it ports right into the hand. Now the cool thing about this guy is that he's got like a little bit of weathered look, kind of battle damage. It's definitely been used, if you can see, like all these little like accents there, which is pretty neat. Now the cool thing about these little accessories here is that they all basically will fit on your figure. That's one thing that G.I. Joe has been nailing, is that they give you all these accessories, and typically all the accessories will store on the figure himself. So basically, like these little attachments, like we can put one down here just like this. We'll go right here, boom, ports in just fine right there. And then these other guys here, will port one right here on this one, just like that. And then we can even port this guy here into this one, just like that. And that looks pretty cool. I mean, there's the majority of your accessories on the actual little backpack. And then obviously you would have your two hands in place, and then you would just pick between which heads and which actual chest plate you want to use. And then the cool thing also about G.I. Joe is that the actual pistol has its own little holster on the figure himself. So that'll store right there just fine. And that's all the accessories that come with the Battle Android Trooper. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the details on this figure. So right away, let's go ahead and start with the head. And we already covered the head pretty much here in accessories, so let's move down. We got this cool looking neck there, if you can see that, but that looks pretty cool. Definitely looks really robotic. And the star of the show here, which is already catching your eye, I'm sure, is going to be the chest plate here. Look at that. That just looks so cool. We got all these circuits in the back. Very cool. And then these cool robotic components there. And I love how they put different color to them too. They just didn't all go green with it. But that is very freaking awesome. Love that. And again, those two chest plates that we saw earlier, here we go, are basically just going to port right on top of there. And as you can see, we have these two pegs on top, and there's one right here on the bottom there that basically are going to go in here and right up here. And it just basically goes in just like that, and then you just push in, and there you go. That's what it looks like with the chest plate on. That looks so freaking cool. Definitely awesome. And then when you pop this guy off, just like that, we're gonna go ahead and try on the other one here, the battle damage version. And here that is, and the same thing, just kind of pop it over there. You just kind of put it on top and then pop it in place. You push down, and there you go. Gotta love that. And as you can see, you can even see a little bit of the circuitry there, those little gizmos inside. That's so freaking cool. Gotta love that, man. That is awesome. Awesome touch for this, man. They didn't have to go that far, but they did, and I applaud them for that. Very awesome. Now, taking a closer look here on the side, we got these cool grenades here, or maybe flashbangs or smoke grenades, who knows, but they are there sculpted in. Very awesome. And then we got this cool looking belt thing here on the side, and that looks cool. You can see the individual notches. You can even see the buckle there. That's pretty awesome. That goes all the way around to the top of the shoulder, and as you can see, we got another metal buckle there, and that's painted with that silver. Very cool. But right here on the collar of the figure, as you can see, we got this metallic gizmo there. That looks very cool. That metallic is all around the collar there. We got a little bit of sculpting there as well. Now back to the shoulder, since we're right here, we got that nice Cobra logo in the yellow, and that came out looking very nice. And you can even pick up some of the texture that's on the figure itself. That looks very awesome too. Some sculpting there on the shoulder, that looks awesome. Looks like his sleeves are being rolled up, and that looks pretty cool. And then down here we have part of the robotic arm here. The forearm is all robotic, and that looks very neat with all these pistons and stuff. Definitely like the sculpt on that. And then we just put in there that claw attachment, and that looks great. Going back up here to the figure on the chest area, let's go ahead and turn him around to the other side of the arm. No Cobra logo on this side, but nonetheless, that looks pretty cool. And there's the other side of the arm, which looks almost pretty much the same. And then we have his robotic arm in place, and that looks great too. Now, going to the back of the figure, here we have his peg hole for his backpack. We got some cool looking pistons back here. That looks awesome. Definitely continues with that robotic vibe. More of the actual armor or clothes that he's wearing, and you can see the texture on there, and that looks great. Here's another one of those belts that wraps around him for the back. That's where it ports in, or that's where he would port in if it was actually removable. And as you can see, it comes around the side here, and that's where it goes up there. Continuing on to the back, we have what looks like a little removable plate. It looks like it could come off, but it doesn't. But it's pretty cool though. Definitely, again, maybe that's where the battery pack is or whatnot, power source, who knows. But that looks cool. And here we have the belt, and the belt is a separate piece, as you can see as I wiggle it around. And the belt's in that classic yellow look. We got some buckles there. That looks nice. It's not as detailed, at least on the hip area, as this strap up here, but towards the front, we got more pouches. We got a pouch there. The buckle looks nice and clean, nice paint applications. Here we have the side of the holster, and that looks pretty good. There's that detail right there. Look at all that. That's freaking cool. There we have the holster, pretty neat. And like I mentioned, the gun can be stored in there. Here is the strap that goes around the thigh. That looks great. And now back on the side here, there's that other pouch that looks good. Down further to the leg area on the thigh, we have another strap that kind of goes around him here. Another little pouch, so that looks pretty cool. These almost look like they're extra bullets, but I can't really tell. But that's cool, and that is a separate piece as well, which looks like you can actually remove it if you wanted to. Yeah, see how it moves there? You can actually wiggle it out of there if you wanted to. But that's pretty cool. There's the front of that strap there on the leg that holds the holster in place. That's freaking awesome. That looks great with that metallic paint. Here are the knee pads. That looks good. Further down, we can see a lot of cool sculpting on the clothes here, all wrinkled up. Very neat, and that texture still runs throughout that whole part of the clothes. That looks great.
Really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just take a look at that. That looks awesome. It kind of looks like jeans or maybe Kevlar. That looks freaking awesome. Very cool. And then at the boot area here, we have this kind of metallic band for the top of the boots. That looks pretty cool. Pretty cool and robotic looking. Here's the front of the boot itself. That looks neat. There's some texture in there. On the side of the boot, we got a cool little pouch. That's a cool touch. And there is the side of the shoe. We got this cool metallic buckle right there in the front. These two will look like straps or bolts. That's pretty cool. And this side also has a pouch on the side there, and that looks pretty neat. Love the paint applications, and there's that buckle again. And we actually have treads on the bottom, so that looks pretty cool. So with details out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at articulation. Starting with the head, he can turn left, he can turn right, and he can turn all the way around, Exorcist style. You can look up about that much, and he can look down about that much, so that's not bad. He can tilt his head side to side here, and it's more of the actual whole neck that kind of goes to the side, as you can see. There you go, you see that? So it's not so much that he has the head tilt, even though he does have a little bit of it, but it's more of the neck that moves with it. So that's pretty neat. He has a little bit of a pile driver motion, as you can see. So that's good. Moving on to the arm there. He can move his arms straight up about that much. That's about as far up as he's going to go. And he can obviously move his arms a complete 360, as you can see there. He does have double jointed elbows, as you can see here, and that is pretty freaking good. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, I like how they use the robot arms to their advantage.
Yeah, no, definitely. This design definitely made it easy for them to achieve that. So very cool. Double jointed elbows, and that is obviously on both sides. So very cool. Down to the wrist area here, the wrist can swivel, as you can see, and they do hinge. Boom. And then now for the accessory itself, same thing on this arm. We have that double jointed elbow there, and the bicep does swivel, as you can see. And there is no swivel on the forearm, but the wrist area here does swivel. So even with the attachments, they will swivel. Moving down to the actual ab area, he can ab crunch forward about that much, which is not much. And you can ab crunch backwards about that much, which is actually pretty good. He doesn't really move side to side, just a tad bit, as you can see there. A tad. But he does swivel, as you can see. Moving down to the legs, he does have an upper thigh cut, as you can see there. He does have double jointed knees as well, and they go as far back as here. Again, it doesn't touch the belt or the butt, but that's still pretty good. He can do the splits about that much, and that's pretty freaking good. I honestly thought that the holster was going to get in the way, but the fact that they made this part here a soft plastic and this part loose actually allows it to do the splits pretty well.
If only Marvel Legends did that.
Yeah, Marvel Legends is having some issues, in my opinion. One thing that Spider Kid noted too is that it actually has this drop down feature here for the legs. So if you see, they can drop down slightly, or you can actually push it back up. So that's pretty neat, because that's definitely going to help out with articulation right there. So it can help you out with those dynamic poses that you guys want to do. So that's pretty neat. Moving farther down here, looks like we have a boot cut, and we also have ankle pivot, as you can see there. And his foot will kick up, not so much. That's about as much as it's going to kick up right there. But it will kick down about that much. Back to the legs here, he will kick forward about that far, which is pretty good. And typically all these figures have problems kicking back, but let's see with this guy. And he can kick back pretty damn well. Look at that. That's pretty good. I mean, obviously this helps right here, that little feature where the legs can drop down. That's what helps him kick back this far, but that's pretty awesome. And that's going to do it for articulation. And to measure this guy up, he stands about 6.5. All right, and now for size comparisons with other toy lines. Here we have the Battle Android Trooper next to the other G.I. Joe classified Crocmaster. All right, so for another comparison here next to their toy line, we have the Mezco Wolverine next to the G.I. Joe classified B.A.T. All right, and here we have the Battle Android Trooper next to the Marvel Legends Silver Surfer. And for another comparison here, we have the Battle Android Trooper next to the DC Collectibles Cyborg Superman, or maybe it's the DC Essentials. I can't remember. And here we have the Battle Android Trooper next to Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker. And for our last toy line comparison, here we have the Battle Android Trooper next to the SH Figure Arts Son Goku and the DC Multiverse The Batman. Alright, and now for final thoughts. So final thoughts on this guy. I think he's absolutely awesome. I love the fact that they gave you a ton of accessories, and the fact that those accessories actually change the way the character looks. So whether you want him battle damaged or whether you want him looking pristine, you have that option. And the other cool thing is the fact that the accessories they can actually port and store on the figure himself. I mean, I'm so tired of having a bunch of accessories that I have to store in different containers or bins because they don't all fit on the character themselves or the figure themselves.
Yeah.
But I love the way that G.I. Joe is incorporating the figure storage and accessory storage on the figure himself. So that is absolutely amazing. The other thing too is the detail on this guy, awesome. I mean, granted, the black areas, which is like the fabric or like the uniform he wears, it's whatever, but what really makes that pop is the texture and all the wrinkles that are sculpted in. And then you got the robotic parts of the figure. Man, those just look outstanding.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish though that they used more of a shinier metallic gray than the kind of dull, gray that they use.
It
but
looks plastic a little bit.
yeah, but either way though, it's freaking cool. And man, the best part is the chest. The chest piece is so cool on how it comes off and you can see the insides. Man, that's awesome. Articulation wise, I think he's great. I think those little extra features that were on the leg area there that lets you pull the leg down, I think that makes a big difference to help you pose the figure. But man, this guy, outstanding. G.I. Joe, awesome job.
Yeah, I can agree. I think they did a really good job on this figure overall. The colors and just like how everything pops with how the black mixed with the orange, it all looks great. But I do have to agree though about the robotic parts. They could have been more lighter gray or even have that shiny look to it. But then again, though, it is a trooper robot. It is an army robot, so you're not gonna see it in the best condition ever. And yeah, I like how they give you an option for battle damage pieces, or if you want to have to mix of both. You can also bring to something else, which would be the multiple changes of arm or the hands. I do like how you can actually swap out the hands, so you have like a gun, a claw, something just like that. It's pretty cool and unique to that specific figure.
All right, it's that time again, folks, for our rating. And as always, you can see that rating there on the left. And I'm going to have to give this guy a rating of legendary.
Alright, so I'm going to give him a rating of...
And that's going to do it for our review on the G.I. Joe Classified Battle Android Trooper. I'm Steel Wolf.
And Spider Kid.
Continue collecting, and remember, stay casual.